following is a true story. Only the names have been changed to protect the anonymity of the eyewitness themselves. Listener discretion is advised. Back in 2016, my brother, my dad, and I would go out to Dixon. It's one of the back roads out in the Yellow Hills. And as you know, the Yellow Hills are infamous for Native American tales of ghosts and goblins. But this particular night, we're going coon hunting. I had a 22, my brother had a 22, and my dad had the 30-06. Plus the shotgun, of course. So we're going down this back road. We drive as far as we can. I think we're on somebody's property, honestly. It's hard to tell when you get down those back roads. All those dirt roads converge into one. And before you know it, you're sitting in somebody's orchard. But we went down this road that was somewhat familiar to us. Dad had the spotlight. We parked the truck on the side of this dirt road and began walking. As we were walking, the road started to become higher than the surroundings. So imagine yourself on a hill. That's this road. It would fluctuate. As the road would go up, we'd be higher. As it would go down, it would peak, and the sides of the road, which were the woods, would be higher than us. So as we're going, we hear flowing water. I know I'm near the river. I see eye shine. This eye shine's high in the tree, but the eyes are way further apart than what they should be. My dad hits the spotlight. As he's pointing it, before the light actually comes on, the eyes, which are about 15 yards away, dart behind the tree. So I know he saw it, same as me. We continue on about 10 to 15 more yards. We see the same thing, yet it's on the other side of the road. This time, I just fired upon it. Now, I know what it sounds like, but this thing couldn't have been a human being. It looked like it was something hanging from the tree. It was so high up. So I shoot my little 22, and I know I hit something. I hear it. Even in the darkness, in this heavy moonlight, you could see the dust fly off of this creature, whatever it was. Now, there's tales, of course, of Sasquatch. You hear women, quote unquote, screaming in the middle of the woods. You hear the banshee, as it's called. You also hear the deep guttural growls when you're walking on one of these roads by yourself at night. It sounds like somebody's running up on you. You turn around and there's nobody there. If you're actually one of the guys that will venture off the road and go through the woods, you will be followed. I don't care what you believe. If you're in this part of Oklahoma and you're in this part of Oklahoma at night, in the woods, in this region, it will sound like something's following you or someone's following you. It's scary as shit. Anyways, I fire off 2 rounds in quick succession. Pop, pop from the 22. I hear it hit what sounds like leather. And even in the moonlight, as dark as it was, you can kind of see dust fly off this thing. It didn't even move. I promise you, its yellow eyes went from a solid yellow to red. My brother is probably 10 feet behind me. My dad is right across from me on the other side of the road. They look at me, then they look at this thing. They see these red eyes, same as I do. All of us, as if we could all feel it at the same time. We turn around and run. Now I want you to imagine the most fearful, frightening, crazy event of your life. The feeling you had. Hold that feeling in your mind. That's what I'm describing to you right now. This isn't country that I'm unfamiliar with. I've grown up in southern Oklahoma. That's why I'm telling you this story. I shoot this thing twice. It doesn't budge. Doesn't move an inch. I hear it hit. You know the difference when you shoot a tree, or when you shoot a stop sign, or a telephone pole, or a bale of hay. This was a bullet meeting flesh. In the few moments that this took place, it became in my mind the scariest event that's ever happened to me in the entirety of my life. We ran back to the truck as fast as possible. I don't feel any shame in saying that I felt like a coward. Because I did. I felt like a coward. I'd grown up in this region, as I said. I've been hunting since my finger could pull a trigger. And this thing frightened me out of an area that I was somewhat familiar with. Again, we didn't necessarily know exactly where we were, but we knew the region. If we would have gotten lost, we could have found our way back to the main road very easily. My brother and my dad and I, this was an old hat for us. We've done this 1,000 times before. Just this time was different. I've heard the tales. I'm Choctaw. I'm registered. My grandfather had told me about these creatures. He told me that they're in this region. He told me that they are to be respected, that they own the woods. But when you hear that stuff, you have to say that's a bunch of bullshit. I put too much trust in science, and it wasn't until I pulled that trigger and the nightmares that pursued. And living in Dixon, hearing those footsteps come closer to the house, taking out the trash at night, and hearing them approach me. It's not my imagination. I knew it was them. It wasn't until all that I realized exactly what I was dealing with and exactly what was in this region. So I've sent this short email to tell you, to let your listeners know, to be careful. I'm just an average Joe. I work at the refinery. I have a family, 3 kids, a wife. I'm 37 like you. Just let these people know to be careful. It's fun to listen to this kind of stuff. And it's fun to experience it, I guess, if you experience it in a different way than I did. But these things are monsters. And they're not to be trifled with. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching. I sincerely hope you like this narration. There'll be a whole lot more to come. You'd do us a great favor if you'd hit the like button on this video. It's up to you, of course. Also, hit the bell so you'll hear every last piece of new content this channel comes out with. Hit the subscribe button. Go check out my channel, DDoS Presents. I think you might like some of the stuff that's coming out there too. And as always, stay cool and stay classy. I love you all.